Hello, freaks, geeks, scrufftards, and botniks. Welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy. This is Scruffy Tales. And yes, it is 30 to 40 minutes long, but this is me going over a conversation I've had throughout the day with a botnik on one of my videos. And I just laughed my way through it. So I had to make a video about it. So, well, we're gonna go and introduce this botnik, and that's the dog sounding in the background. Right, so this is gonna be a wild one. Let's see here. So this is it's still ongoing as I'm recording it. This is a wild one. So Carla Motolos, he writes this comment, and then people chip in as he's 92 replies, and mainly between me and this fucking crazy botnik guy. And so here it goes. Total. This is the guy. At the rate this going, Pokos will fall pretty soon, right? I mean, Russia's been outside of Pokos for 6 or 8 months, but it's gonna fall pretty soon, I guess. So here I go. That's what Botnik said 10 months ago. Okay. And then he's told us being caught. It only took a private military company to take Bakhmut. Doesn't realize that he's shitting on the Russian military because they needed a PMC to do the work of the Russian military. So I chip in a company that said Bakhmut cost Russia 80,000 casualties and reinforcing with penal companies. And then he's like, "Oh, go look at the map, my guy. It's all surrounded. Take a look at this. That's according to Ukrainian mapping site Deep State. And in the last 10 months, Russia, he thinks this is a flex. This is the sad, pathetic state of it. In the last 10 months, Russia recaptured the 1,000 square kilometer territory of Kursk and captured around 4,000 square kilometers territory in eastern Ukraine." Sorry, bud. Now, here's the thing. In 2024, Toro, if you're listening, watching, Russia secured 4,000 square kilometers in total. And that included Kursk, territory in Kursk. Not all of the 1,200 square kilometers, part of it. In 2020, 12 months to secure 4,000 square kilometers in total. Some of it was up in Kursk. 12 months to secure 0.69% of Ukrainian territory. That's not impressive in any way, shape, or form, considering the casualties Russia suffered doing that. 0.69% of Ukrainian territory in a whole year, not even 1%. This is not a flex. 4,000 square kilometers is the size of the state of Rhode Island. Right? It's not a flex. I'm sorry. You fucked up. And it continues. So I can't go down here. 2 years between Adik and Russia advanced 80 meters per day. Right? And here we go. 2024, Russia secured an area the size of Rhode Island. And in 2025 so far, Russia has barely secured an area the size of Luxembourg. And in 2 years' time, Russia has advanced 60 kilometers, not even closing the distance at the Suwalki Gap, right? And then let's ignore all this and jump back to things that Prigozhin is a liar. You can't go against the narrative in Russia with this guy, right? No. So I'm like, well, what do you mean made up propaganda? It goes back and forth. And then where did Wagner go after Bakhmut? They headed for Moscow. And his flex again, so I that 7 kilometers in 12 months is after glorious advance, reminding him that Germany used to advance 30 kilometers per day through Russia before the Americans came to Russia's aid and gave them all the trucks and food and winter coats that they needed to turn things around. So 7 kilometers in 12 months. This is not impressive total. It isn't. And then he goes, "Not a war works, princess." Ugh, Jesus fucking Christ. Right, and then now he's like, "Oh, Ukraine recruited 1 million troops." No shit, Sherlock. They had like 250,000 troops in 2021, and then Russia invaded. Russia has an army that is 2.5 million strong. You think Ukraine would recruit 1 million men, maybe? It's just Jesus Christ. And it goes on. The guy's insane. The guy. I'm thinking this guy is actually a Russian. I'll come into that later on, and it's gonna flip his mind. It's funny as hell. And so anyway, I replied to him, "Oh, Princess, Russia losing its 10v1 advantage in artillery to a 2v1 isn't winning. It's not. You're losing a fucking war of attrition in the artillery duel. Advancing 80 meters per day isn't winning. No, it's not. That's slow as hell, and it means you're taking more and more losses without having any actual breakthrough that can win you the war. And the US has admitted that Russia has lost 100,000 dead in 6 months in 2025 while advancing 80 meters per day. I mean, this is not winning. If you lose this many people in 6 months, advancing only 80 meters per day, you sure as hell aren't winning. Russia securing 0.5% of Ukraine per year, if we exclude Kursk, is not winning. Right? You're not gaining momentum. And if we include Kursk, like we said, the gains are 0.69%. So sweet honey buns, that's not winning by any standards in history. I'm sorry, Tor, it isn't. I'm sorry. And now it goes on, cupcake, and 200,000 started a war with 200,000 soldiers. And why? Whoa, why? Why do you think we got all of these guys? If Russia invades with 300,000, has 2.5 million in total, maybe, and this is 200,000 in Army, Air Force, and Navy. So this is not just the Army. So you wonder why would Ukraine get all of these guys? I don't know. Maybe there's a reason. And this is between February of 2022 and April of 2025, right? 600, so 1 million guys in 3 years. Meanwhile, Russia has lost over 1 million troops dead and wounded in this war fighting Ukraine. And Ukraine has recruited 1 million men in 3 years. And they have not lost 1 million guys. That's for damn sure on the battlefield. And he just goes on. So I keep reminding him, they're attacking more often with Ladas than VPs. The Russian field a handful of Western howitzers. 0.5% of the Ukraine trying to let it sink in. Snowflake, Ukraine is crushing the Russian army. Russian Air Force can't operate over Ukraine since they can. Because if they fly in over Ukraine, they will be shot down. And the Russian Navy has retreated. Tough luck, sweetie. And through their own numbers, they're missing 1 million. So they've recruited 1 million men that have gone missing. So who the fuck is left? How does this add up? Are you telling me that those are 1 million troops that they have recruited have gone missing, so they only have 200,000 that they started off with? Is that what you're at? What? How does this make any fucking sense? It doesn't. And then this, he deleting my reply because you don't have an answer, right? As I will point out to him, when I delete a post, it's because it's racist and offensively racist. So, and this is also Russian Air Force, according to you, dropped 51,000 live bombs last year. And you don't have to fly over the target to hit it, right? But these 51,000 live bombs are aimed at the front line, not at strategic and vital targets behind the front line, where you want to move in with aircraft to bomb like the United States did in Iraq, right? So he just doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. So this is this massive glide bomb advantage, and Russia's still advancing 80 meters per day. Weird. I wonder why that is. And according, he repeated, they're missing like 1 million men. They're missing 1 million men. What? So they have recruited 1 million men and they've lost 1 million men. So they only have 200,000 troops in the army, and Russia can't invade, and Russia only advances 80 meters per day. How? What? It is just this man. This is a wild one. So tell me, I haven't touched your post, my guy. And then I say, in 2022, did you think in 2025 that Russia would struggle to advance 100 meters per day? That Russia would be invaded? That the Russian Navy would have retreated? That the war would continue into 2026? That Russia would have to rely on North Korean vehicles, artillery, and manpower? We all know Russia had a stronger industry, a larger military. That's the device leaking in the background. Why is all of this happening? Because Russia is incompetent, or because Ukraine is effective? You think he answers this? No, let's ignore that. We're gonna ignore that part. And then he makes up this. This is completely made up, completely made up. And yes, you did. Commented on one of your videos a few months ago, and you admitted you deleted my comment because you didn't like it. Jesus. And the only company have been Ukraine, fourth largest military last year. Yeah. So where's the Russian military budget? Is it the fifth, or is Ukraine? Does Ukraine have a larger military budget than Russia? What? How? I don't get it. And Kursk didn't fail. I mean, Kursk. Jesus Christ. And according to it goes again, we're now missing around 1 million soldiers. So, but they misplaced 1 million soldiers apparently. Ukraine has misplaced. They recruited 1 million troops and misplaced 1 million troops. It's fascinating. I wonder who. How did that happen? And here I go. So if I did delete it, it was a blatant racist comment. So I guess that means you are a full racist. I returned to 80 meters per day for 2 years. The Russian military is a joke. It's garbage, drunks and prisoners, and the only significant success Russia had was thanks to a PMC sacrificing junkheads turned cannon fodder. The US crushes Iraq in a few months. Russia gets invaded by Ukraine. Fucking shit show clown ass country with drunks only capable of murdering civilians. And in this war, Ukraine has been invaded once, but Russia has been invaded twice by Wagner in 2023 and Ukraine in 2029. This is hilarious, actually. Russia has been invaded twice in this war. And the Russian military is such a shit show. Russia got invaded by PMC, private military company, Wagner, and was actually afraid the mercenaries would seize Moscow. Remember that? The Russians were actually afraid that Wagner would seize Moscow. And then, meanwhile, Russia didn't even reach Kiev. And it's like, take a look. It's 6 hours ago. So this has been ongoing the entire day. And I'm sorry for the voice, by the way. I'm not feeling. I'm really under the weather here. The headache is actually sinking in. So I'm not gonna do a map update. This is the video I'm gonna make tonight. Nope, you didn't like what I was saying about how the war was going, according to the comment he said I deleted, which I haven't. Both attempted invasions of Russia failed. Oh, yeah, Russia. I thought about Ukraine for a moment. Russia controls an area of Ukraine. Ukraine larger than the UK, my guy. According to Western, there are several trillion dollars. Yada 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 yada. And their own numbers are these misplaced million troops. Ukraine has the 6th largest active military in the world, with the 4th largest. Where's Russia in all of this? Russia has the 5th largest active military, yet they haven't had a so. What? Who's larger than Russia in all of this? Yet they haven't had a successfully offensive since November 22. That would be Russia. Russia hasn't had a successful offensive since 2022. Since February of 2022. But sure, cope more, buddy. Make up more numbers. Sad. Yeah. Failed Wagner. So, oh no. And bringing up you missing soldiers. Oh Jesus. And here I go. I delete racist comments and bad vatnik forums that I get tired of. You're still here, which means I deleted comment was racist. like Mr. Racist. And why should I address Ukraine recruiting 1 million troops? Everyone knows Ukraine is outdone and outnumbered, so it's obvious Russia's brought in even more troops than Ukraine. It's a silly argument. Yeah, I was just skimming through what it was saying, so I thought it was talking about recruiting 1 million troops, which is true. But he's been talking about they have misplaced 1 million troops. And fact remains, Russia is advancing 8 meters per day, securing half a percent of Ukrainian territory per year, suffering 100,000 killed and accidents in 2025 alone, according to the United States. You can eat Russian bullshit straight from Putin's ass all day long, doesn't change anything. Russia is an evil, barbaric dictatorship that murders civilians and can't conquer Ukraine. And Russian supporters are pathetic, unintelligent morons who jerk off to videos of drones killing babies. And note, you delete comments you don't like. That's why I'm reading you all of this, because I delete comments apparently. To lower its draft age because of casualties, Ukraine is missing 1 million men. A million of people. Russia's gained millions of people since 2022, and by Western estimates, trillions and millions and more. Now, Russia has the fastest growing vaccine in the world. What? Ukraine. You don't want to address Ukraine conscripting over 1.2 million by early 2025. And back to these numbers. But its active military went from 900,000. No, it wasn't. It was 200,000 or something like that. And they had a bunch of reserves, absolutely, kind of like Ukraine. Like Finland. I'm sorry, I'm tired and sick. Before the war, to 1.3 million now. But they misplaced 1 million apparently as well. But it's easy to see Ukraine suffer more casualties. Every Western estimate has had Ukraine have more soldiers inside Ukraine than the Russians up until very recently. And then I kind of get pissed at it. I delete racist comments, but since you keep lying about my conduct, I'm going to ban you from my comment section because I don't like it. I was about to. If you kept it up, I was going to ban him. And also, how many troops support each frontline soldier? 5 to 6 troops to support each. Was it tooth to tail, tail to tooth? 5 to 6 troops to support each soldier in front lines. If Ukraine has 1 million men, how many of them are fighting men, right? So you need 5 to 6 troops in the logistics chain, commanders, officers, and everything like that. So you need roughly 5, 6, 7 troops to support each fighting man on the front line. So if you have 1 million men, not every one of them will be fighting, right? So it makes sense that Ukraine recruited 1 million men if they're invaded by Russia. So I point out the Russian army is 2.4 million strong. Talk in the background. And why has Russia recruited 1.5 million troops since 2022? Isn't that weird? Ukraine had an army of 240,000 in 2021. Seems recruiting 1 million was a requirement to resist Russia. But why has Russia recruited 1.5 million troops since February of 2022? Isn't that weird? Very strange. And then I go on here. Now it's going to kick off here. Why is 90% of civilian casualties within Ukrainian held territory? Why has the UN reported thousands of Russian attacks against hospitals and medical facilities in Syria and in Ukraine for over 10 years? Why do you support a terrorist regime that has killed more civilians than any Islamic terror organization? Why do you support Russia, a terror regime that kidnaps children, bombs hospitals, and has started 5 wars in the 2000s before invading Ukraine? Why do you support a cruel, barbaric Russian terror state that has done nothing but kill civilians for 300 years? Russia was an evil empire that invaded others when it was a Tsarist. Russia was an evil empire that invaded others when it was the Soviet Union, and Russia is an evil empire that invades others when it is the Russian Federation. It's almost as if, the name changes, but Russia has remained the same for 300, 400 years, right? And then he goes, let's ignore that, right? Syrskyi moved most of the rear troops to the front lines, including Air Force, yada yada. Russia definitely hasn't recruited 1.5 million. No. They have, by most Western count, called back up 300,000 former soldiers and have had 700,000 to 800,000 volunteers. Okay, I mean that adds up to a million at least. Russia had 300,000 in Ukraine by late 2022, 450,000 by early, yada yada yada, and only using part of its military. That 2.4 million number you're citing includes hundreds of thousands of border guards. Jesus. And then he's only think you was thinking of the states. They're the ones who started how many wars, yada yada. And now he's going to be, oh, they killed millions of civilians, and less civilians have died in Ukraine than in Gaza. In spite, now comes the being apologist, right? Russia has not killed as many civilians as the United States and Israel. Therefore, what the Russians are doing is fine. That is the argument. It's coming. And then Amnesty International documented Ukraine forces used unguided rockets and more intense fire. This is true. Back in the day, Russia and Ukraine both bombed cities back and forth. Absolutely. So he's going to be writing that here. That proves that Russia is allowed to do the same. And that they were hiding in hospitals and residential buildings, and this exposed civilians to retaliatory strike. Now comes Russian propaganda. Highlighting these things from the early stages of the war. And Russia was trying to hit these Ukrainian troops, and they're hiding in these positions. And this is now proof that 90% of civilians getting killed and wounded in Ukraine is due to the Ukrainians are to be blamed, essentially, right? It's pushing that propaganda here, because you have these incidences, and therefore it applies to every incident in war. But I replied to the previous part about the Russian mobilization here. Since early 2022, including partial mobilization and voluntary contract service, Russia has approximately recruited 1.2 million to 1.3 million soldiers using a mix of yada 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 yada. And I ask why. You understand why Ukraine would expand its forces, but why Russia? Hint hint, Russians are dying. And then I go, vatnik scumbags. I'm trying to get a rise out of him at this point. So I'm starting to troll him here a bit. Vatnik scumbags are always full of vile, cruel apologies. Why the fuck does Russia attack thousands of medical facilities in Syria and Ukraine? We're not talking just Ukraine here, and Syria as well. I mean, it's doctrine. It's intentional, right? It's how they operate. And it's because they are savages who target children, and anyone who supports Russia is a cruel, sadistic son of a bitch who endorses the murder of children. Right? It's true, it is. And Russia's soldiers' contracts run out. Like, Russia's lost lots of soldiers, but their contracts are so losing troops because they're returning home. Who knew? They're returning home. It's 2 million soldiers. I don't know. The guy is all over the place. Here we go. The States has killed 10 times as many civilians since 2000 in the Middle East than Russia has killed Ukraine. So I'm like, you support the murder of children. You support Russia targeting civilians. Admit it. And Israel's killed more civilians in Gaza than Russia in half the time, and the States totally supports that, right? So Russia is not to be blamed. The United States has done it. Israel has done it. Therefore, Russia should be allowed to do it. So you support Russia's actions in Ukraine, do you not? Well, you're like a child, my guy. You start by talking about stats. When that doesn't work, you start trying to mortally grandstand. When I point out how the country supported Ukraine, done far worse stuff in the Middle East in the last 25 years, now you're trying to call me Russian or something. Lol, do better. Right? So his stats were fucked up, like we talked about. I mean, complete fucking idiot. Morally grandstand. The country supporting Ukraine done far worse, but I'm asking you what you think about what Russia's doing. And just because Ukraine's allies have done far worse doesn't mean it's okay for Russia to do it, you fucking idiot, you scumbag. And then he goes, I don't care who wins. It's a stupid war over who the people in Donbass pay taxes to. I'm not Ukrainian or Russian, so I don't care. Couldn't care less. Just another war. Doesn't change who is objectively winning. So now I'm. Do you support Russian actions against Ukrainian civilians? And I think he delete. Yeah, this is where. So in between my replies here, he posted stuff and he deleted them. Not sure why. I guess he wasn't really. I guess he didn't think those posts were any good, or maybe didn't have the right argument or something. I don't know. But he deleted them anyway, and then reposted down here new replies. So I keep repeating or posting to his responses here. Do you think Russian strikes against thousands of medical facilities is an atrocity, and the military order to do so is a criminal act? And refuses to answer these questions, because he keeps returning to what Israel is doing and what the United States has done. That is what he's saying between each of these replies here. Do you support Russia striking thousands of medical facilities in Syria and Ukraine, or do you think they are criminal acts and the people who gave the orders are criminals? Completely ignoring it, says something else. Do you support Russia bombing thousands of medical facilities in Syria and Ukraine, killing thousands of civilians, including children? Or do you think these are criminal acts? Are these war crimes? And should all military commanders giving these orders be arrested as war criminals? Completely ignoring it. And now he says this instead. Israel is doing worse right now. The states bombed Syria, caused the death of millions of civilians in the Middle East, never faced any consequences of what they did and are doing. So the double standard of grandstanding about Russia doing less than what the country supporting Ukraine did is ridiculous, right? So what he's saying is Israel did it, and the United States did it, therefore it's okay for Russia to do it. This is him admitting that Russia should be allowed to kill civilians and kill children. Just because Israel has done it, then Russia should be allowed to do it as well. It's not, that, oh shit, Russia and Israel and the United States are fuckheads for doing this. All three of them. No, no, no. It's like, they are allowed to do it, then why aren't Russia allowed to do it? They can do atrocities, then so should Russia be allowed to do it. That's the fucked up argument he's presenting here. That's how vile this person is. A completely vile, disgusting person. Do you, my guy, you on your end of the internet, support Russia killing children in Syria and Ukraine? Right? I want your opinion. Oh, Crimea River, the country supporting Ukraine, la 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 la. Right? So he keeps reporting, saying this. They have done it as well, therefore Russia should be allowed to do it. And when the countries supporting Ukraine have been held accountable for yada 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 yada, then we can talk about much, much less Russia has done. So killing children, much, much less, right? So, then I go, can't answer that, can you? What's the problem? Will you get in trouble with the boss? Will you get fired or get thrown out a window? So fucking afraid to go against Russia. I wonder why. He's not speaking out against Russia, right? He's defending Russia. Russia is allowed to do these terrible atrocities. Because you are in Russia and you're afraid of being an enemy of the state. Funny thing is, you have admitted to everything. You essentially argue that since the US has killed civilians, therefore Russia should be allowed to do it as well. And since the US and Israel gets away with it, so should Russia. You have admitted that Russia is murdering civilians by thousands, that it is Russian doctrine, and therefore Russian high command is responsible, and Putin is a war criminal. He's admitted all of this without saying it outright, by saying Israel is doing it, the United States has done it, therefore Russia should be allowed to do it as well. And since Russia has done it for decades, it is doctrine. It is how they operate. And Putin is well aware of it, and he is okay with it. He is a war criminal. Putin is perfectly fine with the Russian army murdering children for no reason. You have admitted to all of it, and you have also admitted that you endorse the murder of children because he refuses to speak out against it. So I'm gonna make a video about this conversation. Here we are. Make some more money out of you. I've harvested comments from you here to help the algorithm, monetizing trolls and bots and so on. Yeah, I do this from time to time. If I get a guy like this, I just keep, you know, it keeps the time going. It's fun. I take weird enjoyment out of these kind of conversations. And in the case of YouTube, I mean, more comments help the algorithm, and that means more views and money. And then I guess YouTube will have to review your posting history, right? Since you're a Russian propaganda outlet and you're an outspoken supporter of war crimes and the murder of children. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to talk to YouTube and say that this guy is a piece of work and has a YouTube channel. He has a YouTube channel by your click, and he mentions me in his community post. Funny as hell. But he's a pro-Russian YouTuber, clear as day. And I mean, the replies in this comment section here kind of proves it as well. So anyway, where was I? And I hope your boss won't get too upset and stay away from the Windows vodka. This guy could very well be a fucking Russian sitting in a troll factory somewhere earning money with talking online. Great, do it. No, it's incredibly hypocritical for the countries that have done yada yada yada, and your videos are terrible. So oh, there it is, calling me Russian. Calling someone Russian is amazing. You don't ever know. No, it is. No, it is. There's no argument with you because you make bullshit arguments, and when I present you with facts, you just ignore it, and then talk about a million Ukrainians missing, even though they recruited a million troops, so they're back down to 200,000 troops or something. I don't know. It's weird. And so I'm like, no, seriously, watch out because the Windows. If he's in Russia, god damn it, he's at risk if he fucks up. And then he's like, oh, you actually need to get views to make money, so the $5 you make per view must really help because you're a loser. So a loser will make money out of you. And then now we're gonna go into YouTube specific stuff, and it's funny as hell. I get 5 to 10,000 views per video on my other channel for 0 effort videos, so it's hilarious that you put in so much work and so few people watch. Very funny, because now it's just like preschool level of arguments. So like, my dad is stronger than your dad. It's funny as hell. So that depends entirely what the advertiser wants to pay. So what the advertisers pay to be shown on your video affects how much money you get for the video. And nope, I have a channel, my guy, that gets better views than you. trying to lie someone else. I know exactly how much you make per video, or should I say, don't make a lot. I got all night, my guy. What about my videos do you think takes a lot of work? And Lady Gaga comes in here. Dude, each video gets a different earning per 1,000 views. You get paid for per 1,000 views, essentially, depending on what advertiser wants to pay. And the fact that they're 15 to 40 minutes long to start with, really working those pennies are. And then it's like yada yada yada. So I explain other people make the maps. I just talk for 20 to 30 minutes as if that is a massive effort on my part. And I'm not making frontline content to earn money. Our videos for money and the fun of it, but the rest isn't about money, my guy. Are you out of your mind? What's supposed to be a smiley face there? What the hell? So no, when I'm making frontline updates and stuff like that, that's not for money. Views and money. That's yes, it's nice, absolutely. But I'm doing it because I want to do it, even if I'm not making massive amounts of cash. But the video I'm gonna make on this subject here, specifically, just to add a couple of more pennies or cents out of Toro here. That's the whole point of it. Goddamn dog. Anyway, so Toro, nope, you're the one who said you were going to make money off of this. Now that I pointed out how little you're actually going to try and change your tune fail. our law, so there are multiple people not making money on this. The guy is a complete fucking idiot. Anyway, so I'm gonna check my phone here if there's been some more conversations added to this. This is just fucking hilarious. Let's see here what's happening here. Let's see here if we have some more stuff added. After this, where is he? That's the wrong one. Hang on. This is not. There we go. This is. Let's see if we have some more here. Oh, so many posts. No, that was the last one apparently. So yeah, funny guy. I mean, Ukraine has misplaced 1 million troops after recruiting 1 million troops. I wonder where they went, and I guess they only have 200,000 troops left in that case. And I wonder why Russia has been forced to recruit, 1 million troops in these 3 years as well. Very strange. So yeah, but he has a YouTube channel. Interesting stuff on there. I guess you can check out and subscribe to his channel. Maybe you can find out what the other channel is that is making money. But yeah, that's it. This is my interaction with a troll today, and it has brought me a lot of laughs. So there you have it, another low effort, or was it high effort video? Yeah. I'm putting down too much effort in my videos apparently. 30 to 40 minutes long, talking about a vatnik and his conversation and our conversation. I enjoyed it, and you can. This is their mindset. This is how fucked up in the end they are. I'm still thinking he could be a Russian, and he's but he has his own channel, and he's probably gonna try and expand it. And if he's gonna make pro-Russian content, he's gonna make money out of it because the pro-Russian crowd are fucked in the head. But yeah, that's this video, and that's gonna have to be it. And remember, don't feed the trolls. But it's kind of fun, isn't it?